Hey guys, welcome back. Automated Realtor here to show you another super exciting automation and build that I think you're going to be able to benefit from. So before we kick things off, let's just go over today's playbook. So I put this together. I hope it makes it easier for you guys to sort of follow along, get an overview of what it is that we're up to and what we're going to be doing. So the first thing is this. Today we're actually going to be using something called N8N. N8N is a different alternative automation platform. If you actually remember, I think it was in the first video I did, I showed you a build that I had used, that I built on N8N. N8N today, I would say, is probably one of the more popular options for people to use when it comes to building AI and automations. However, like I've said before, it's got a bit of a steeper learning curve than Make. And so that's why the last few videos I've sort of focused on Make. But I did want to share this just in case some of you are curious. This one's going to be super interesting because I really think the potential, the power, and the possibilities exist on the N8N platform. So what are we going to do? We're going to create our own hosted server on N8N. So what that means is this. When you use make.com, you're essentially renting their servers, and as such, you are paying to use it. So if you've had a chance to look at their plans, I'll tell you this much. If you're kind of like a very sort of light user, you'll be fine. If you start finding yourself doing more automations, more connectivity, and more sort of usage, it can actually get fairly expensive fairly quickly, especially if you're looking to offer your sort of value as a service. So for example, if you're looking to essentially create a business that operates around offering AI and automations as a service, Make could become a little bit expensive. So with that being said, what we're going to be able to do is we're going to move it all over to N8N. N8N has the ability for you to self-host, so you could use their servers if you want. It's still cheaper than Make if you do, but if you want to go completely nuts and really take full advantage, I would recommend, and it doesn't have to be Render, I'm just using Render, but there's many different providers that will allow you to do the same thing. And essentially in self-hosting, you don't have to pay. It's virtually free, and with N8N, there's a really good community section, and that community provides a lot of add-ons and sort of things that naturally don't come with the platform that lets you do really cool things. So with that being said, step one of today is we're going to get us set up on a Render self-hosting platform, and that way we're going to be able to self-host N8N. Once we're done there, we're going to swing over to Apify. Apify, for those of you remember, we used last time, and on Apify is where you can extract data and find a bunch of what's known as actors that you could use as scrapers to get data from various places like TikTok, Instagram, Shorts, etc., like YouTube. So today we're going to actually work on something in which where I already started building it. So I'm going to bring you up to speed in a moment as to where I'm at with it. And then we're going to finish it off as well. We're going to focus on TikTok. What we're going to do is we're going to take the content from TikTok based on the Apify actor that I'm going to show you. We're going to scrape for these actual items here. So these are the topics. So the economy, real estate, finance, whatever. By the way, you can put whatever sort of, topics you want as, the automated realtor. I figured this would make the most sense. So, but you could do whatever you want. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to set the filter to basically capture only the posts that have been put up in the last week. So they're fresh, they're recent. I don't want anything outdated. It's no longer relevant to me. From there, we're going to connect Apify to N8N. And if you haven't done so already, I'll show you how, and then you can follow along. And of course, by the way, as always, exclusive to the community, the Automated Realtor, you will get all the templates, the prompts, the worksheets, etc. And before I forget, I've put together a really detailed step-by-step package because I don't want you guys to get confused. But if you do decide to use the Render approach to self-hosting, I'm going to include a step-by-step guide on what to do. Follow it step-by-step with photos like you can't miss, and you'll have no problem getting up and running, okay? So back to this. We're going to connect Apify to N8N. We're going to run the actor. That's going to get us the data that we want. We're going to be going based on 5,000 views minimum. So this means I'm not pulling any data that doesn't have, or videos rather, that don't have at least 5,000 views. This sort of kind of gives me a better understanding of virality, which is important, right? Because there's no point in downloading 100 views, 200 views. I don't really care. There's nothing special about it. I'm looking to find the secret sauce, understand it, extrapolate it, and then sort of figure out, okay, how can I reproduce it? What's the ingredients? How do I make it? Okay. The next step from there is, and this is where it can get a bit tricky, but don't worry, I've got your back. We're going to convert the videos that we've downloaded to audio. And then once we get the audio, we're going to convert that to text. Okay. So we're going to transcribe it to text, but we have to take a few steps, like from video to audio to text to do that. So we've got that sorted as well. Once we have the text, we're going to feed it to the AI brain, feed the knowledge, the text, okay, to the AI brain, which is a memory system that we're going to have via something called Pinecone. So I'll show you that as well. And this way, anytime you run this automation and every time you pull these videos, what's going to happen is it's going to automatically upload to your brain database. It's going to continuously store it. And once we have it set up in the future over time, we can communicate with it by way of text. So you could say things like, what's the latest trending topic? What are the key areas that you think these videos are showing that have been successful for them? Like things like that. It gives you a really big opportunity to pick apart the data. But more importantly, think creatively. It's not just for content. You can literally do this with anything. And so it's a very basic RAG system for the AI to be able to communicate, extract, and retrieve the information. And then that way we can, speak to it at length, which is kind of interesting. It's going to help us uncover some really deep insights, okay? So with that being said, let's jump in. Walk you through the automation. So basically right now I have it set up where I would click it to start it and use it. However, I would recommend if you were going to build or use something like this on a regular basis, you can make it interface with other objects. So other ways to do that would be things such as Telegram. You could do it with things such as WhatsApp, text, whatever the case is. I'm just doing it for the purpose of example, but in the future, I'll show you how to connect it with other things as well. So in this case, if I were to click run, what it's going to do is it's going to trigger the Apify actor, which is extracting all the TikTok content that we want. This is where I have the filter set in. If I click into it, so you'll notice views are greater than 10,000. I'm going to bring that number to 5. And the reason is I just don't want to set the bar too high. And by the way, the data here, I'm going to show you in a second, but so we have the filter. It's giving you the 5,000. Here I set a limiter, so if it gives me a lot of results for the purpose of testing, I don't want it, but when I'm ready to deploy, I'm gonna get rid of it, okay? This over here is just a simple GET request, and I'll show you on a step-by-step of how to actually retrieve the video that's been it downloads the actual video, and then we give it code, okay, a special code, which looks like this, and I'll walk you through this in a second. And what this does is it basically transforms it and allows us to use something called CloudConvert. By the way, CloudConvert is only available if you're using the self-hosted version of N8N. So if you're using this, for example, and you're just kind of doing it through N8N, this won't work because this would be a community node. And for example, what that looks like, if you go to your account, go to settings, come back to it. You go to community nodes over here, and these are the things that we have set up. So as you can see, I've added this. Okay, so this is for CloudConvert. And to have access to that, of course, you do need to have the community version of N8N. So keep that in mind. This is why you want to set up Render or any other hosting site for the purpose of being able to do this. CloudConvert is going to transform the file into MP3. So it's going to take it from MP4, which is video, take it to MP3. Once it's MP3, we feed it into ChatGPT Whisper, and that'll transcribe it from actual MP3 to text. Once we have it as text, the video that is going to take it to Pinecone. Pinecone is where we're storing all the data, and it's going to load it and keep it there. And this can have virtually infinite context. And so what that then allows us to do down here, and I'm going to open the chat in a little bit, is we can directly interface and communicate with the documentation that's loaded into our Pinecone vector, and we can continuously add to the Pinecone vector and continuously chat and get insight on the data. So I just thought it might be an interesting use case to do with things for social media to better understand the types of content that's working, why is it working, and maybe find and discover different insights. but honestly, a very common use case that I'm seeing. So if you're a company and you want to basically have an easy way for your employees to, to communicate and understand the company policies, the company, packages, products, whatever the case is. So like currently in most corporations, I would imagine they have these massive phone book size textbook that they sort of give to employees to train on when they hire them. And they have, training sessions and all this stuff that I feel like is at the doorstep of basically being eliminated because of stuff like this. So yeah, so let's walk through this, okay? So first things first, let's see what we did. So to get to this, and by the way, anything you see here, this is no different than what we had in Make when we were using Make and running an Apify module, except again, here it's called a node. It's all the same. So don't let this overwhelm you. It's slightly different than Make, I know, and this is why I said it's a bit of a steeper learning curve to learn, but it's definitely worth it because it gives you some better flexibility in some cases. So better late than never, right? And it never hurts to start. So here's what you do. First things first, the first module that you would want to create, or node rather, is you would want to go to add a node, HTTP. Okay, so you just do HTTP request, and then it would be a post request. And I'll explain how we know all this. So a post request, by the way, is when you're actually pushing to request information from somewhere. And so how did I get the information to fill out here? So pretty straightforward. I go to my Apify account, okay? Just like you, at this point, you should now have one. So when you go to the Apify store, as I showed you in a previous video, it's got all the different actors. In this case, because I've already run this, we're gonna go to this one. Okay, so this is what it's called. So for the purpose of finding it, I'm just gonna copy, and I'm gonna go to store, and I'm gonna paste, and there it is right there. So this is the one that you wanna look for. It's by API Dojo, okay? And I like it because it's 30 cents per 1,000 posts, which is incredible, okay? Over here is where you start doing your settings. So just like before, kind of how we used it when we used it with Make, for the first time, you wanna fill it out here. If you have a specific URL, so for example, if you have a specific TikTok account and you know its actual URL or website, put it in here. You can add multiples, or you could do what I did, which again, by the way, guys, remember maximum output is 10 that I've got it for, again, for the purpose of testing. When I know I have it working the way that I want, I can scale it up. So instead of using URLs, I'm using search keywords as my queries. So I've got real estate Canada, GTA real estate, Ontario finance, Canada economy, and then I'm doing a 10 maximum search per each. So over 4, that should yield out 40. Date range this week. So you could do all time, default, yesterday. I feel like this week is a good amount of time because I think the news cycle, the virality cycle is pretty much, it's good. It's a week. I think yesterday would be too soon. Location Canada, because I'm trying to study for my demographic. Again, if I'm doing this different and I'm doing this for more of a global brand, if I'm doing this for a brand that's operating in the US or whatever country, I can study the competition accordingly based on what's here. Advanced options, leave that as it is. Run options, leave it as it is. What I actually do is, you can see I'm paying a $39 plan, and this gives me up to 30 gigabytes of memory. So that means I can actually increase the speed in CPU power, computer power that I'm renting to use. So their maximum is 512, but some of them are not, which means if I'm already paying, I can get better, better results, quicker results, that sort of thing. So just keep that in mind. Once you have all that, as always, go to JSON, because once you filled it out here, it automatically populates your JSON, okay? So just get it to look like this, okay? So once you filled out everything on the manual side here, and you go to JSON, just make sure that whatever you put in is showing up here, and as you can see, it has, okay? But before you get that far, what you wanna do is you wanna go to API endpoints. This is gonna pop up, okay? And then what you're gonna wanna do is, the one I'm using is run actor and get data set items. And this means, unlike on Make, I could actually run the actor and get the items from the same module or node, and that's really nice. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna literally copy it. It's gonna include the token, so you don't need to blur it out. And that token is like an API key that's gonna connect your account to N8N and all that fun stuff. So you go back, you go here, go to post, you would paste what I just copied. So whatever you just copied from literally here, the endpoint. Okay, so remember, API endpoints. I like this one. I recommend you use it too. Run actor and get dataset items. Just do a simple copy. Go back to N8N. Oops. Open HTTP request. It's going to be a post request. So you're going to click post. You're going to paste. And then you're going to flick on send body, JSON, specify body using JSON. And then it's just very simple. You just go back and you literally copy this, right? This is your request. And you just paste it in. That's it. And you're pretty good from there. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to create a filter. Now, the reason I did it based on views, so when you run it for the first time, all the results are going to pop up here, and we'll do that in a moment. And then you simply, let's actually do it now to make everybody's life easier. So when it pops up, what we're going to do is we're going to take the result, which, let's go to schema. Okay, so you see views. So it kind of nicely labels everything. So I'm interested in views because I want to filter for that. So you go to views. Oops, let's erase this. You throw that in. Now, by the way, always use expressions. So whenever you want to use variables that you're pulling and throwing into here, make sure it's clicked on expressions. If it's clicked onto fixed, it's not going to work. It's going to be annoying. And then you're going to set the filters. Like I used it as, again, this is a number. So it's not a string, meaning it's a number. And you'll notice because what I'm pulling, views, it has a number sign beside it. So anytime you're looking to just do this sort of thing, just always match to the symbol. And then I'm doing is greater than or equal than 5,000. So let's see what I get. So I got one capped. So I got 20 items discarded and I got one capped. Again, it depends. I can try to maybe figure out a way, like I don't know, I could drop that number of views. Maybe I could drop it to 1,000. Let's see. Like, let's even see what happens. Okay, so now I've kept 2. Damn. Okay. So we're going to keep 2 is greater than or equal. So this one, for example, has got 9,000 views. This one's got 2,000 views. Okay, so both match. And then the rest of them, man, what's going on? Not a lot of views. I mean, these aren't ones that I care for anyways, but again, it's all relative to the vertical that you're interested in. So maybe because of what I'm looking at, maybe because I'm checking in the last week or so, again, you can expand and sort of change your filter horizons and then you'll get more results. But in any case, I've gone to, and so this is what it's showing me, which is cool. And again, I'm just showing you for the purpose of example. There's a multitude of use cases. Use it whichever way you want. So let's change this to say 1K so we're accurate. And then, I mean, I don't really have to use this limiter now, but I just have it here in case. So this way, what it does, if let's say you're doing something and it brings back a lot of results, like naturally it brought 20. As you can see here, it brought 20. I could have limited the results, but the filter actually eliminated a bunch of them. Now, the next thing you want to do is you're going to literally, so if I execute here, you're literally going to do an HTTP GET. Okay, so this now means we're getting. Remember from a make video I did, it's kind of like a scrape. So you do get, and then you're just going to find the URL to the actual TikTok. So as we scroll here on the side, this would be it right here. And if you want to confirm it, you just take this, we'll copy it, and let's throw it in, and let's see what happens. And here's the TikTok. Cool. So the point is, I know it's the actual URL or website for the TikTok, which is what I want, because now I pull in the video. Here's the most important part. I'm going to actually put this code in a separate file for you guys. It's going to be available exclusive in the community. You'll be able to download it. You'll copy it. You'll paste it. You just simply create a code node. So you go to add. Let's try here again. Okay, add node, just type in code, which I kind of like because you could throw in custom code, which is nice. And then just copy the code that I'm showing you. Okay, we can delete this. And the reason is because what it's going to do is it's going to transform it to allow it to connect to CloudConvert. Okay, so you're going to do that. And then for CloudConvert, I'm going to show you what you do. And by the way, to install it, so after you've installed the render, like once you've deployed the render server and you've logged in and you followed the attachment in the Skool community that I've provided, or if you're already running it this way, once you do that, just simply download, or rather install, the CloudConvert npm. Okay, I'll put that in the description as well. Just simply copy the name, paste it over here, just like I showed you in settings. So you simply, let's just save this. We'll go to settings and we'll go to community nodes. And this is it right here. So you would literally copy and you would just type it in and then install. Okay. And once that's done, you're good to go. Then you'll actually have the node available to you. So once you click this open, you have to make an account. So you go to, I believe, oops, CloudConvert. Okay, oops, not here. So you go to their website, CloudConvert, you make an account, get your API key, same as before, and then all you do is you connect it here with a credential, just as always. So they're doing an OAuth 2. It's very easy to do it. I just recently did it. I promise you, it's very simple. Literally just follow the docs instructions. As always, they offer it, so you can just follow along. Once you do that, in terms of the settings here, you don't really do anything. The only thing is output format has to be MP3, because what it does is it's going to take MP4, which is the video, and it's going to turn it into MP3, which is the audio, which is what we need. Okay. Once that happens, OpenAI node, and then you're going to do transcribe or recording. That's it. Okay. You'll literally see it. Like, for example, if I go here, hang on, add node, and I say transcripts. We go transcribe, you'll get OpenAI, and then you'll see from here, transcribe or recording. Okay, that's it. That's all you got to do. Pretty straightforward. So once you have that, you just leave everything as is. That's it. Okay. Pinecone. This is the next one. So what you want to do, and it's very simple, you go to Pinecone. I want to say, what's the website? Pinecone.io. Okay. If you don't have an account, sign up. When you have an account, log in. And when you log in, let's see. 1 second, guys. Okay. So when you log in, all you do is you create an index, you type in the name, so whatever you want, like N8N or whatever. You could do this one. It's more than fine. I mean, it gives you a lot of different options. Or actually, to be honest, I think I'm doing the large embedding with OpenAI, and this is important. So whatever you pick here, remember, definitely choose between the OpenAI large or the small. I don't know. I went with large, okay? And then all you're doing here is you're just picking the location that's closest to you. So in my case, because I'm in Toronto, you go US West, and that's it. Like, that's basically it. And then you would, you know, once I type this in, I create an index, boom, and then you have it. That's it, okay? And this part here, the embedding model, will have to match the node that you have over here. So for instance, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to create a Pinecone vector store node. Very simple. Again, as always, if I go to add node and I type in Pinecone, you'll see it. Once you open it, you're going to click it. You're going to connect your account with credentials. It's an API key. Once you make an account online onto Pinecone, you'll be provided with one. Just copy, paste it, and then it'll give you a list of your indexes. Find it, click it. Insert documents is the operation that you want to go with. Okay, so it's going to put it into the vector store. And then I just called the namespace, which isn't so important. I just wrote TikTok database. Okay, and then here's what you do next. So once you do that, it's going to ask you for a OpenAI embedding. So remember how I mentioned you had to pick what match? So remember here, we did large, but you don't have to, but you can. Just make sure that you're picking the same thing here, okay? And then over here, I went with the default data loader. I didn't do anything here. and then recursive text splitter for chunk size 1,000 and overlap 200. So basically what this is, what vectorizing data basically means, imagine it's a really big bookshelf and it's got a bunch of different data in it, and it's all chopped up, and to retrieve it, it's got it segmented into little compartments. Now, problem is that if you take piece by piece, you may lose context unless you overlap piece A to piece B. So the chunk size that we're going to be pulling at each and every time is 1,000. This was, I believe, in reference into characters or tokens. And then the chunk overlap, if I'm not mistaken, is 200. And the 200, it just represents that, you know, there's going to be a stitch between piece A of data and piece B of data. So that way context is kept, okay? And if some of you are watching and you have better best practices than that, let me know. I'm a student of the game, but that's been working really well for me. So once I run this, it'll take that latest data and it'll put it up into the store, okay? So let's actually do that now just to make sure it works. So remember, you click this to start, but if I want, I can have it connected to a broader agent. This can act as a tool, and I can trigger it based on just communicating, either a voice note or a text. And that's something you can always do later, but for the time being, I'm just setting this up as an option in a scenario to see, as I might actually end up integrating this into like one super overall agent, you know? So it's gone to TikTok's Apify actor. It's gone as 20 items. 5 seem to have survived, okay? I'm not sure how, because we saw less than that, but whatever. So 5 seem to have survived based on, because I just ran it again actually, so that's probably why. That was based on 1,000 views minimum. So we downloaded the 5, we transferred and transcribed and are now turning it into text. So we went from video to audio to now in the process to text. The next thing that should happen is it should take it to the Pinecone vector store, which is where we're housing our database. It's gonna properly, you know, disassemble it and put it away for us in good storage once it's done here. And then once we're done with this, I'm going to show you how we can communicate with the documentation that we got. But what is rather interesting to me, this was just like a random concept, an idea that I had that I thought that would be cool, but this would be a no-brainer. If you have a business and you're looking to put like your business's, I don't know, like I said, HR policy, your product guidelines and all that other stuff, if you're looking to put that in a place where you can use AI to communicate with all of it, or your employees or even customers, for instance, this would be an awesome solution. So you notice 5 hits, so it went up and then it hit 5 times. So that's all the transcriptions that we got. So now it's done. So now I'm gonna click open chat and I'm gonna say, hey, what's up? Just to start. By the way, so this is connected to an AI agent. I have no prompt, as you can see, okay? There's no prompt running into it. I have an OpenAI chat model, so I'm running 4.0 mini, literally. It's not even that smart. I mean, it's okay. Simple memory. And then I've connected the Pinecone store, okay? So now it's retrieving documents, which is the TikTok knowledge base. And I just said, this is the only description. Work with the data in the Pinecone vector to answer the user's queries. Limit of 4. Let's increase that to 5. I don't know. Okay? So I'm going to say, hey, what's up? I'm just going to say, answer any questions. Okay, cool. So keep in mind, you can like add more prompts to this. You can give it more tools. I don't even have any tools connected to it. So I just gave you some, tell me what is most trending from the content that you have. What videos and concepts seem to be doing best? What is the overall sentiment currently? So now what it's doing, as you see, it's gone to the store, so it's retrieving it, and now it's going to answer it based on the data. So here, let's see. And remember, it's got no prompts, it's got nothing. So just think about what you could do here if you actually, like if I put real time, real effort, I put in tools and blah, blah, blah. And by the way, this to me would just be like a single extension that would be connected to like a super agent. This would be just like one small extension and connection to a super agent that has a bunch of other capabilities. So the power here is absolutely insane. Okay, so let's see what it said. Currently, some of the most trending topics and videos reflect significant socio-political changes and community sentiments. Here's a summary. So economic and political challenges, discussions around Prime Minister ending United States era as leader of economic low trade, Donald Trump, international students, content on real estate and housing in cities like Burlington is popular. Interesting. Highlighting properties that believe are worth investing in Burlington, unique characteristics. It's pretty cool. And general sentiment surrounding these topics appears to be mixed. Okay. Would you be able to assist me in writing a script for content as the content you have is all from successful TikTok videos, and I'm looking for the, just winging it guys, magic sauce to replicate. Thoughts? So let's see what happens. I'm very curious actually to see what it would say. Okay. So now it's giving me information and it's giving me main content and okay. So it's giving me like, again, based on what's going on in the market, based on real data, based on real transcripts that are coming from actual videos that are getting a certain amount of views on TikTok, it's giving me insight and assistance on how I can actually do this. Now, one last thing, give me a specific concept or topic based on what you see is trending from the data that you have been, have been provided with. Oh, cool. Financial burdens faced by international students in Canada, delving into both direct costs, tuition, housing, living, and indirect costs, mental health. Yeah, opening script, opening visual. I mean, you sort of get the point. And like I said, there's a lot of different use cases here. I just thought this one was interesting. But again, just the fact that you could literally seamlessly, basically upload documents and then communicate with the data contained within it is really a game changer in my opinion. Again, this isn't exactly new, but it is cool. And for those of you that have not seen this before, I want you to dive in, okay? So if you have any questions, as always, comments, please jump into the community. And I'll put the templates, I'll put all the prompts and everything that I've mentioned in this video there as well. And I'd love to see you there, okay? So I'll catch you on the next one.